decriminalized homelessness. And Maine was the first in the nation to pass laws to protect people who are homeless from hate violence. If elected, how will you address these important issues and create solutions rather than barriers?
One of the things I'll do is, and I've done it throughout my career in public policy, if there's a situation out there or that we have to address, I would bring people in from all sides of the issue to sit down and find out. We'll identify what the problem is and how do you find a solution to the problem. Good example is when I first was elected to the Maine legislature, coming from the paper industry. I'm very familiar with the paper industry and forest products. The paper industry and Forest Products Council would always bring a bill in dealing with the Forest Practices Act. The environmental groups always brought a bill in dealing with the Forest Practices Act, but in a different light. So they're completely two separate bills. So when I became chairman of the Energy and Natural Resources, the paper industry wanted me to sponsor, the forest products industry wanted me to sponsor their Forest Practices Act. I told them I would. The environmental groups wanted me to sponsor their Forest Practices Act. I told them I would. So I had these two complete different bills. It gets back to, I know, the gun issue as well. Two complete different bills. What I did was, as I said, all right, I brought both sides in. I said, we're going to pass the Forest Practices Act. And I want both sides to sit down and work to identify the problems, find the solutions. It took a lot of time to do it. And it took us actually 2 days to define what a clear cut was, but we was able to get it done. That was over 3 decades ago. Ever since we passed the Forest Practices Act, there's been very little changes in that act because we took the time to listen to one another versus say, no, I want this, I can't have it, I'm not going to vote for it. So it took time, but that's something as governor I'll do, whether it's housing issues, poverty issues, or any other issues. I'll bring in both sides to really focus to identify the problem and find a solution. And that's why, if you look at this race for governor, I'm the only candidate in this race, the only candidate in this race for governor that actually has a proven track record of being able to work across the aisle. The governor clearly doesn't. I mean, he's had 180 vetoes, so it's obvious he hasn't the ability to work across the aisle. The independent candidate says, I'm independent, I can do it. Well, he doesn't have a track record of doing it. I do. When I was president of the Maine Senate, we had 17 Democrats, 17 Republicans, and 1 independent. A lot of people thought that was going to be a nightmare because depending on any given day, if someone was sick, it depended on who was in the majority. But it worked out extremely well. And why did it work out well? Because every morning we had Republicans and Democrats in my office going over the legislative calendar in an informal way before we went into session. It did speed up the process, but the second thing that it did is the fact that we were meeting every morning, Republicans and Democrats in my office. It built up trust and open line of communication. And that's what's missing today, that trust and open line of communication. To give you a good example, it was during my tenure when we had the evenly divided Senate. We actually did pass a minimum wage increase, and that's one issue that usually divides Republicans and Democrats. We passed it a 2-tiered increase in minimum wage, unanimously, Republicans and Democrats, under my leadership as President of the Senate. And that's what I'll do as governor, bring people in on these issues and really focus. And incidentally, since I am in Portland, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, is yes, it was an evenly divided Senate the first year. The second year, because Senator Joe Abramson passed away, Mike Brennan actually won the seat, and Democrats actually within the majority. Now, I couldn't, some of my colleagues wanted me to stay President of the Senate for the full 2 years. I said no. I said we had an agreement. And the agreement was I'd have it the first year, the Republicans would have it the second year. And I'm going to stick with that, keep my word, and stick with that agreement. Because if we don't like what they're doing, we could outvote them anyway. So, and that's what it's going to take on a lot of these issues, is to really bring people in and try to find ways to solve them. So.